From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On the News Hour tonight, APC kicks as National Assembly leaders name principal officers. Low-income earners in Gombe changing lifestyle to cope with rising living cost. Relief as Abuja Estate records no flooding after downpour on Tuesday. And on the foreign scene, fighting rages in Sudan as army tries to cut RSF supply lines. Hello there, welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start the bulletin in Abuja as the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has announced the names of the key figures comprising the majority and minority leadership of the 10th Senate. The appointments were made with the aim of ensuring effective governance and representation within the legislative body. Consequently, Senator Opeyemi Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central Senatorial District, emerged as the Senate Majority Leader, while Senator David Umahi, representing Ebonyi South, takes on the Deputy Majority Leader role. As Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume, representing Borno South, emerges as the Senate Whip, while Senator Lola Ashiru, representing Kwara South, is appointed Deputy Senate Whip. On the other hand, Senator Simon Nwadok, representing Plateau North, assumes the Senate Minority Leader role, as Senator Oyeomi Olare takes on the Deputy Minority Leadership position. Meanwhile, Senator Darlington Nwokocha becomes Senate Minority Whip, while Senator Rufai Hanga is the new Deputy Minority Whip.
The Senate's leader is Senator Opeyemi Bamidele. He will be the Majority Leader of the Senate and the Senate Leader. Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume will be the Chief Whip of the 10th Senate. Senator David Umahi, by your consent, will act as the Deputy Leader, and Senator Oyorola Isha Ashiru will be the Deputy Chief Whip.
Well, in the same vein, the House of Representatives on Tuesday announced its principal officers that will pilot the affairs of the 10th Legislative House for both the ruling majority, the All Progressives Congress, and members of the 8 opposition political parties in the Green Chamber. The Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, while reading the 2 separate letters signed by both caucuses of the Houses, announced Julius Ehobere as the Majority Leader of the House, Halims Abdullahi as the Deputy Majority Leader, Usman Kumo as the new Chief Whip, and Onanuga Oriromi as the Deputy Chief Whip. For the Minority Caucus, the Speaker announced Kingsley Chinda as Minority Leader of the House, Madaki Ali of the NMPP emerged as the Deputy Minority Leader, and Ali Isa JC clinched the position of the Minority Whip, as Labour Party's George Adegeye was announced as the new Deputy Minority Whip. These principal officers are to resume their functions with immediate effect.
Number 1, Honorable Kingsley Chinda has been nominated as the Minority Leader and is from the party PDP extraction. Number 2, is Honorable Ali Isa JC, PhD, as the Minority Whip, also from the PDP. We have number 3, Honorable Ali Hussain Madaki, Guinea, as Deputy Minority Leader from the NNPP.
Well, in the meantime, the APC National Chairman, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, has disowned the list of principal officers announced by the leadership of the 2 chambers of the National Assembly on Tuesday. Adamu, at a meeting of the party's National Working Committee and Progressive Governors Forum in Abuja, says the National Assembly breached protocol by announcing the principal officers without the knowledge of the party. Similarly, People's Democratic Party, in a statement signed by Debo Ologumnaba, National Publicity Secretary of the party, on Monday, condemned the alleged moves by the All Progressives Congress to meddle with the affairs of the minority with regards to the emergence of the minority leadership, which is an exclusive reserve of the Minority Caucus. The statement says the PDP and the opposition senators will continue with consultations on the emergence of the minority leadership in the Senate and were resolved to collectively present a unified leadership after due and conclusive considerations. Still staying with developments in the National Assembly, the Nigerian Senate has set up a 7-man ad hoc committee led by Senator Abdul Ningi to investigate the abandonment of the East-West Road project in the Niger Delta region, despite gulping hundreds of billions of naira. The resolution followed a motion by the senator representing the area, amongst other motions debated at the Red Chamber, just as majority and minority leadership of the Senate emerged. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
The Senate resumed plenary on Tuesday after Salah break. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, while tasking the 10th National Assembly to put the people first in discharging its responsibilities, announced the names of both majority and minority leadership of the Senate. Senators then begin deliberations on motions bordering on extortion and dehumanization of Nigerians by some police personnel, incessant building collapse, continuous killings on the plateau and other parts of Nigeria. The lawmakers also raised concern over the prolonged East-West Road project spanning 3 administrations and gulping hundreds of billions of naira without completion.
Personally, I have more than 1,000 cows. Today, I don't have a single one. They are all been stolen. My farm has been taken over by bandits. My people cannot go 1 kilometer outside the town to go to their farm. And the sad thing is, I'm not sure any federal government agency knew about our predicament. Everybody was just silent, as if we don't belong to this country.
One of the primary functions of government is the security of lives and property. It is not an issue you can easily exhaust. So we've agreed that we will set aside a particular sitting or a day to make sure we look into the insecurity issue in the country so that we can bring lasting solution to it.
The magnitude of the situation led to the setting up of a 7-man committee chaired by Senator Abdul Ningi to holistically investigate the matter and report back within 4 weeks. The Senate also urged the Inspector General of Police to investigate cases of extortion, harassment and dehumanization of Nigerians by some police officers on the highways and report back through the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, gunmen suspected to be armed robbers numbering about 5 on Tuesday invaded the palace of the Emir of Mina, Umar Faruk Bahago, and shot 2 of the palace guards. The incident reportedly happened at about 4 p.m. Reports say the Emir was at the palace while the gunmen shot sporadically to scare people away before they made away with an undisclosed amount of cash belonging to the Mina Emirate. 2 of the injured palace guards were reportedly taken to the Mina General Hospital for medical attention. It was gathered that one of the staff of the palace, who was reportedly sent to the bank to get some cash, was trailed to the palace by the gunmen who drove in a private car. One of the eyewitnesses says the criminals overpowered the vigilantes who tried to repel the attack on the palace. The Niger State Police Command is yet to confirm the incident. Now, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has lined up 60 vehicles to convey over 10,000 farmers to their ancestral farms in Dambo local government area of the state. This is coming less than a week after the insurgents carried out 2 different separate attacks in the council area, killing 8 farmers in Wulari Bridge and slaughtering about 7 others in Bulajimbam area of the local government. The governor, who took up the challenge to lead by inspecting the road on Tuesday ahead of the farmers, made a stopover and dialogued with military officials and farmers on how to make the process smooth and easy. He urged the military to consider the farmers' population to avoid subjecting them to the rigors of checks that would consume more time.
Screening each and every Sunday that here will take at least 3 to 4 hours. And this is never feasible. And therefore, I'm urging the Nigerian army to look into the possibility of allowing the farmers to go to their farmlands so that they will farm. Because food insecurity is the worst form of insecurity. We must address the challenges of insecurity, the root causes of insecurity, which are not limited to increasing poverty, increasing infrastructural deficit, and increasing climate vulnerabilities.
In Zamfara, the police have vowed to arrest the suspected hoodlums who invaded Kadamusawa village and killed 6 persons. A statement by the police command's public relations officer, Assistant Superintendent Yazid Abubakar, explained that they received information from the district head of Kotorkoshi, Bello Umar, that a large number of unidentified armed men suspected to be local volunteer group popularly called Ensake invaded Kadamusawa village under Kotorkoshi town and started shooting sporadically, leading to the death of 6 persons, with 4 others sustaining various degrees of injuries. The police says the injured victims have been taken to Kotorkoshi Primary Healthcare for medical attention, while 1 person who was injured died at the facility while receiving treatment. The PRO says the police is working to fish out the culprits and bring them to justice. The Commissioner of Police, Muhammad Bunu, appealed to relatives of the victims to exercise more patience and allow the authorities to handle the matter. Now, amidst the rising cost of living across Nigeria, many Nigerians are adjusting their food consumption levels to cope with the soaring price of food commodities. Now, Trust TV's Ibrahim Ismail speaks to some residents in Gombe State on the struggle to adapt to the new normal in the wake of rising inflation. His report.
Abubakar Ahmad is a school teacher residing in Gombe State capital. Like many other Nigerians, the father of one now pays more for food and transport fares, a situation that makes life difficult for him. Abubakar, who is married to 1 wife, had to adjust his spending to be able to cater for the family due to exorbitant prices of food items and high cost of living generally.
To dai lalle ilalla gaskiya na adjusting saboda yanayin tsadan shi.
To be honest, I have adjusted my spending on food due to inflation. Before, with 1,000 naira, you can buy 2 measures of rice, but now you can't because of the soaring prices. Yusuf Ibrahim is a civil servant. He says his salary cannot buy food that will sustain the family for 20 days. And cannot afford a 3 square meal daily due to soaring prices of food commodities in the market.
Rice is about 1,000. Maize gari is 700 naira as of now, and then they are saying that they will increase the price of it. Therefore, it affects me. I cannot cook for 3 square meal in a day. I used to cook only 1 or 2 if it happens, unless people are helping me. So this thing is critically affecting us, more especially me. I have 10 children.
Farashin mai an tashi aka shirye subsidy. Gaskiya yanzu komai ya tashi.
The inflation is due to the fuel subsidy removal. Price of everything has doubled. A bag of maize that sold 20,000 now sells 40,000 naira. With the removal of fuel subsidy, the World Bank has projected that Nigeria's inflation rate might rise to 25% by the end of 2023. It's less than 6 months to the period, and Nigerians are already feeling the impact. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, residents of communities recently attacked by gunmen in Mungu local government area of Plateau State say peace is gradually returning to the area. The affected residents who spoke on the current situation in the area applaud the government at the state and federal level, as well as security agencies, for restoring peace and stability. Ado Musa tells us more.
Many farming communities in Mungu local government area had in recent time come under severe attacks with reports indicating that several people were killed in the areas and properties worth millions of naira destroyed. Worried by the incident, the State Commissioner of Police and other security agencies deployed security personnel to the affected areas to restore law and order. Some of the IDPs speak on the situation and hope that the ugly incident of the past will not be experienced again.
Some of us didn't come out of anything. We only came out with ourselves and our children. We didn't have anything to give our children, but with God.
Nothing like that will happen to anybody. I am praying that these things should stop in Nigeria. I think enough should be enough.
The Youth Wing chairman of Magavul Development Association, Manji Daniel, also appreciated the effort of the state government in restoring peace in the areas.
I do want to appreciate the President Governor of Plateau State, as His Excellency Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, because he's just a month and some days in office. But with his coming, we have seen some response because the mobile that are there, just from the call we have been doing, they have been trying to help in the situation in our various communities, and they are still trying to protect the enemies from coming to invade the main town.
With the relative peace being restored in Mangu General area, many IDPs hope to go back home and continue with their normal lives. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Elsewhere, a yet-to-be-identified policeman has been killed as a result of a clash between thugs at Yakase area of Kano Municipal. The incident, according to eyewitnesses, occurred at around 6 p.m. on Tuesday when a supposed thug alighted from a tricycle by Murtala Muhammad Specialist Hospital was attacked by other thugs in the area. The eyewitness added that for the past couple of days, there has been clashes between thugs in the area. When contacted, the police public relations officer in Kano, SP Abdullahi Haruna, who said the command is yet to receive any information on the matter, however, noted that an investigation is ongoing. Now, farmers in Tahos and Joel communities of Riom local government area of Plateau State are calling on the federal and state governments to take action against the destruction of their farm produce. Trust TV had on Sunday reported on how some of the farmers have accused herders of destroying their crops, an accusation that was denied by the leadership of Gang Allah Fulani Development Association in Plateau State. Once again, Ado Musa tells us more.
The farmers who accuse the herders of cutting down their unripe maize, Irish potatoes and cabbage among other crops say they work on Sunday morning and saw their crops destroyed in the farms. According to the farmers, the destruction, which they said is uncalled for, is a deliberate move to deny them their means of livelihood and call on security agencies to take urgent action on the matter.
As we know that these are incidences that were premeditated by the Fulani herders, because early this year we got the intelligence that Fulani met and they have vowed that there won't be any form of harvest in Plateau, particularly Riom, Barikiladi, and Mangu local government. And lo and behold, this is what we are seeing today. And this intelligence were given out to the appropriate authorities for, proactive measures to be taken to avert this. But of course, we are seeing it coming to bear. And we are calling on the appropriate authorities, particularly the state and federal government, to rise up to the occasion.
They come in the morning, we come to see destruction. But now, now let government try about it and help out the team when I will talk for our family.
We have suffered in this farm. It took us a long time before we got to this stage, only for us to wake up and see our maize, cabbage and other crops destroyed. We were told they are still coming. We are calling on the government to bring an end to this problem.
Only recently, more than 200 people were killed in the state, especially in Riom, Barikiladi and Mangu local government areas of the state, with both farming communities and pastoralists accusing each other of the atrocities against their members. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now in Katsina State, maize farmers have expressed concern over the increasing number of adulterated farm inputs in the markets. Such inputs, they say, include fertilizers, herbicide and pesticides, which are already in circulation at various markets across Katsina State. They're worried that this may negatively affect their harvest and quality of produce and also hamper food production across the country. Abdullahi Amadi has more.
Officials of All Farmers Association of Nigeria Katsina State branch are quick to raise alarm over what they described as a disaster about to happen if nothing is done to protect crops farmers. They also claimed that many markets have been flooded with the adulterated farm inputs by some unpatriotic elements who are bent on making money at whatever costs. The government should also do something urgent to prevent famine by providing adequate improved seeds that can withstand our weather conditions, because from the look of things, the rainy season started very late and it may not last long. I believe that Governor Dikko Umar Radda, as a professional farmer, is aware and will do something immediately. Speaking on the sidelines of maize scarcity and its soaring price, poultry farmers blamed years of incessant bandits' attacks on farming communities in the country.
The main cause of maize scarcity, especially in Katsina State here and in Nigeria at large, is this activity of banditry. Most people don't know the amount of maize chickens consume is more than the amount of maize that human beings consume. Yes, of course, the government from time to time do assist us, do help us with some allocation, but that allocation that are given us, I'm telling you, is not enough. Let it be available in the market at an affordable price, we'll be happier.
Stakeholders are also afraid that the scarcity and price hike may persist in the coming years if nothing is done to stop adulteration of inputs and the incessant bandits' attacks on farming communities. Already, the price of maize in Katsina has hit 38 to 40,000 naira per bag, and economists say the price may keep increasing in the coming weeks, especially with the impact of climate change, which has already dealt a blow on annual yields. At the moment, many Katsina residents are saying the price of all grains is by far beyond their purchasing power.
It's increasing on a daily basis. Even the removal of oil subsidy is the major factor.
They are appealing to government at all levels to intervene to prevent hunger, which is already ravaging the country. Abdullahi Ismail Amadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at why university students are returning to school, but in trickles. Details of this and many more coming up ahead after the break. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us on the News Hour on Trust TV. First, a look at the stories making the headlines at this hour. APC kicks as National Assembly leaders name principal officers. And low-income earners in Gombe State are changing their lifestyle to cope with Nigeria's rising cost of living. Right, the heavy rainfall on Tuesday in the Federal Capital Territory did not result in a deluge of flood-prone areas across the Federal Capital. A look around Trademore Estate showed that precautionary measures taken had freed up water channels, while remedial measures are still being put in place. Noel Sampson has a situation report.
On June 23rd, heavy rainfall in the Federal Capital Territory had resulted floods which displaced hundreds of residents living in Trademore Estate. The downpour started during the early hours of the day and raged till 4 p.m. At the end of the day, about 166 houses were reported to have been submerged in floods. Reacting to the disaster, the FCT administration had declared the Trademore Estate a disaster zone. In the early hours of Tuesday, the heavens opened up again in the early hours of the morning. Many were worried about that the deluge will once again trouble the residents of the Trademore Estate. However, precautionary measures have been taken by the residents of the estate, which include further canalization of the waterways in the estate and outside the gates of the estate, while the openings under bridges are being expanded to allow the flow of water in the estate. Some residents of the estate who prefer to remain anonymous say the problem is not from the Trademore Estate but from those who build on the waterways across the estate and divert the flow of water. Unfortunately, when water has no place to go, it flows into Trademore Estate. As at the time of filing this report, none of the residents will speak to the press. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
In Kebbi State, concerned citizens are suing the Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company for a 4-day blackout in Birni Kebbi metropolis from the 29th of April to 3rd of May 2023. In a suit filed at Court 5 presided over by Justice Halima Aliyu of the Kebbi State High Court, the plaintiff prayed the court to declare that the action was a collective punishment and gross violation of the fundamental rights of inhabitants of Birni Kebbi to have access to public services, which is guaranteed by Article 13 of the African Charter on Human Rights and the People's Right. The Kebbi concerned citizens also want the court to declare the act as restrictive business practice contemplated by paragraph 2, subsection 18 of the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission's Customers Complaint Handling Standard and Procedure 2006 and fiduciary duty the defendants or Birni Kebbi metropolis customers. It therefore wants the court to award a 1 billion naira damages or fee in damages for the inconveniences caused by the distribution company.
Kebbi concerned citizen has filed this case seeking for declaration that the action of Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company has violated the fundamental rights of the Kebbi State inhabitants. The customers violated Article 13 of the African Charter of Human Rights for equal access to public services, of which electricity is a basic utility, which every citizen has right to have.
The distribution company by the recent trustee of Kebbi State initiative, something like that.
Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has closed its defense in the petition filed by the Labour Party after calling one witness at the Presidential Election Petitions Court. At the resumed hearing of the petition filed by the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, on Tuesday, the electoral umpire called one Lawrence Baide, a director in the Information and Communication Technology Department of the Commission. The witness admitted that some of the results were downloaded from INEC's portal. He also insisted on the cross-examination that the results of the February 25th presidential election released by the Commission are authentic. Under cross-examination, the witness says that even if blurred documents were downloaded from the INEC's IREF portal, it would not affect the physical result as recorded in Forms EC8As, which are not blurred. According to Bayede, the images of Forms EC8A captured with beavers and transmitted to RF are not relevant for the collation of the presidential election results. He told the court that the glitch recorded during the presidential election did not affect the collation of the results. For his part, the lawyer to President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima Wole Olanipekun SAN says his clients would open their defense in the petition on Wednesday. The Ogun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its governorship candidate in the recently concluded governorship election in the state, Ladi Adeputu, on Tuesday, stormed the election petition tribunal with 8,000 documents as exhibits against the victory of Dapo Abiodun at the March 18 governorship election. Adeputu in the petition is challenging the victory of Governor Abiodun based on alleged non-compliance to the Electoral Act and corrupt practices during the election. Counsel to Adeputu, Godi Uche, SAN, prayed the three-man panel to admit the documents as evidence against Abiodun. In his submission, counsel to APC, Kunle Kalejaye, SAN, accused the petitioner of attempting to railroad the court into admitting the documents as evidence.
In fact, we also yesterday filed a schedule of documents where we listed all the documents we are going to tender. It's about 98 pages document. It will contain about 8,000 INEC forms, documents, BVAS reports, EC8As, voters registers, and even the printout from the IREF. We have everything to tender today. But we brought all these documents to the tribunal. Our opponents, the respondents, said they need time to go and look at them. Well, in the interest of fair hearing, we agreed that they can go and look at them, but we asked the tribunal for us to come back tomorrow, that one day should be enough for them to look at it, but they have been pleading with the court to give them 2 days, so the tribunal has graciously granted 2 days.
It's the duty of the petitioner to open his case, and we discovered that the documents that they brought, they ought to have given us notice for us to come and look at the documents, because these are their own documents which they want to tender. So we have to inspect them to be sure whether we are objecting or not objecting. So the order given by the tribunal was that they should have invited us to come and look at those documents. So they just sprung the documents on us this morning. So we told the tribunal that we will not allow ourselves to be eroded.
All right, we'll take another quick break. The news hour continues after this. Join us again.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on Tuesday says it will prosecute 215 cases of electoral offences committed during the 2023 general elections in the country. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu stated this while addressing resident electoral commissioners at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. He added that the electoral body will work closely with the Nigerian Bar Association, which he said is willing to prosecute the cases pro bono. Analyzing the polls, Yakubu says the 2023 general elections were the most prepared for when compared to previously held elections in the country. According to him, the 25th February presidential election and National Assembly elections were held as scheduled. He added that the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS machines deployed for accreditation performed optimally. The INEC boss described the 2023 general elections as one that, quote, produced the most diverse National Assembly ever.
It is necessary to look at the entire process before, during, and after the election to make an informed assessment. Granted that events on election day are probably the most important in terms of optics of elections, it is also very essential to look at the totality of the process. This is necessary if we are to learn the full lessons of the election going forward. Compared to some previous elections, we believe that the 2023 general election was one of the most meticulously prepared for in recent times. Learning from previous experiences, we started preparations immediately after the 2019 general election, carefully ticking the necessary boxes over a 4-year period.
Right, the Military Pensions Board says it has resumed the payment of the third tranche of the security debarment allowance to its retirees and next of kin of the deceased who have earned the benefits. It explains that the payment of the third tranche represents the third quarterly payment of the SDA for the year 2023. The chairman of the board, Rear Admiral Saburi Lawal, told journalists in Abuja that the development was to fulfill the pledge made by the board after the payment of the first and second tranches. He said the board had earlier promised to settle the payment of subsequent tranches promptly once funds are made available by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. Saburi, who spoke through his spokesman of the board, Kazim Olagunju, a flying officer of the Nigerian Air Force, said the payment was to pensioners who are active on the board's database as at 9th of November 2017. Olagunju added that the payment was meant for the next of kin of the deceased pensioners of the board's database who are alive as at 9th of November 2017, as well as non-pensionable but active military retirees who retired before 9th of November 2017. Now, the Zazzau Emirate has announced the suspension of Marafan Yamman Zazzau Mustafa Adamu Ubaidu. A statement signed and issued to newsmen by the Abdullahi Aliu Kwarbai Media and Publicity Aid to the Emir of Zazzau says the decision was taken at the Emirate Council's meeting held on Monday. According to the release, Mustafa Adamu Ubaidu was suspended indefinitely for alleged violation of ethics and taking the laws into his hands. The statement further explained that the suspended traditionalist or traditional title holder was handed down a judgment for an offense alleged to have been committed by one Yusuf Yahaya Sabo of Angwar Magajia without any legal prosecution. The council, however, accused him of exceeding his traditional and constitutional mandate by taking the laws into his hands. The release warned all district, village and ward heads, as well as all traditional title holders in the Emirate, to desist from violating the Code of Ethics and taking the laws into their hands. The Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission has confirmed the arrest of a former Commissioner of Works, Idris Wada, in connection with a 1 billion naira fraud. Wada and 5 others were arrested on Monday in Kano. Addressing a news conference, Chairman of the Commission, Muhuyi Magaji, told reporters that the arrest is coming at a time when the Commission is reopening an investigation into the dollar scandal of former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje.
We have made some arrests yesterday in connection with a case at Kano Road Management Agency. It is in relation to an outright theft of 1 billion naira belonging to Kano State government through bogus companies. I can't tell you the name of the companies here offered and for investigation sake. But this money was removed a month before handing over, and it was removed. It was withdrawn under the pretext that it will be used for construction or rather rehabilitation of some road, 30 roads in Kano State. And that is why we made some arrests, including the former Commissioner of Works, who doubled as the MD, Managing Director of Kano Road Maintenance Agency.
Now, amid the controversy trailing the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination result obtained by Ms. Ejikeme Mesoma, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB has insisted that her result is, quote, patently fake. On Sunday, Ejikeme was accused by JAMB of forging her 2023 UTMEA result, a claim she has vehemently denied. However, in a statement on Tuesday, JAMB spokesperson Benjamin Fabian says the body has withdrawn her result and consequently barred her from writing the examination for the next 3 years. The examination body also reassured Nigerians that its, quote, system was neither tampered with nor compromised, as the candidate simply falsified a copy of a result slip of a candidate named Asimiu Mariam, who sat for the examination in 2021 and scored 138 points. The Benue State University has resumed academic activities after a 1-month strike action. However, due to the economic downturn worsened by the removal of subsidy, few students were seen at the campus. Jimmy Azande reports.
To many, it is a lifetime story recounting the experiences occasioned by the subsidy removal. The cost of transportation, other goods and services has caused the delay in early resumption, according to the students.
Of fuel subsidies in our nation has really affected citizens in this country, especially students. We have resumed back to school. It's over three weeks now. And if you come to school, you look at the population, the usual population we used to have when we resume back to school, it has now reduced based on this fuel subsidy. And students are not being able to get their transport to come back to school.
It hasn't been easy since the removal of subsidy. In my place, normally they take 2,000 naira from my place down to Makurdi. But then following the removal of subsidies, that's been pushed to 2,500 naira from my place down here to Makurdi. And not only that, reaching here, when I got to the market, I discovered that the removal of subsidy has not only affected the prices of transportation, but generally buying things. There's been a kind of significant increase almost on all the things I went to the market to buy, leaving me almost empty after having the necessary provision I needed to sustain me.
Some of them who have managed to resume are still not sure of how they can run the semester because of the hike in the cost of living.
I borrow money from my neighbor up to 20,000 naira, and this 20,000 naira was a meager amount to enable me to come back. Before I reach here, buying the transport has already consumed almost half of the money. Talk more of my handouts, talk more of my notebook. I now left with nothing, even to take good care of my feeding. Become a challenging situation.
It is expected that the government will act fast with well-planned intervention to cushion the hardship, as promised by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Until then, many Nigerians have continued to live through uncertainties. Jimmy Azande, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
You're still watching the News Hour on Trust TV. We'll take another break. We'll be back with more news after this. Join us again.
That's great. It's good to see you.
Right, welcome back. Now, as part of efforts to block leakages and increase revenues, especially from non-oil sources, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning has stepped up efforts to block revenue loopholes and boost debt recovery drive. The director in charge of special projects in the ministry, Victor Omata, stated this on Tuesday at the Zonal Sensitization Workshop in Asaba, Delta State. The workshop was on the federal government debt recovery drive through Project Lighthouse South-South zones. According to Victor Omata, the Lighthouse initiative was initiated by the ministry to put an end to revenue leakages in the country, adding that the ministry has since then recovered 5.8 billion naira out of the 5.2 trillion naira aggregated from 11 MDAs represented by a deputy director in the Ministry of Finance, Odoziaku Bridget Moloko. Omata further explained that the debts were in the form of liabilities to the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Now, the federal government is set to reduce the importation of drugs in the country from 60% to 40% to promote the local manufacturing of drugs. The special advisor to the President on Health, Salma Anas Ibrahim, made the disclosure at a workshop organized to strengthen the World Health Organization Nigeria Country Cooperation Strategy in Abuja. According to Anas Ibrahim, this is part of President Bola Tinubu's priority agenda to bridge the gap in the country's health sector. Other priority areas include increased and improved access to equal healthcare services and national health insurance for at least 40% of Nigeria's population to ensure all citizens, including the vulnerable group, are beneficiaries. And on the international scene, fierce battles have broken out across Omdurman, a city across the Nile from Sudan's capital, Khartoum, as the army tries to cut off supply routes used by its paramilitary rivals to bring in reinforcements. Reports say the army launched airstrikes and fired heavy artillery on Tuesday and ground battles in several parts of Omdurman. The Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, said it has shot down a fighter jet, and residents posted video footage that appeared to show a pilot ejecting from a plane. There was no immediate comment from the army. The conflict, which erupted between the army and the RSF group on April 15, has brought daily fighting to the capital, triggering ethnic-motivated killings in the western region of Darfur and threatened to drag Sudan into a protracted civil war. Now, for today's briefing in sports, let's join Adeni Ajeshafe for the latest.
Athletics Federation of Nigeria AFN said it will shut the doors to 2023 World Championship bid for Budapest, Hungary, against any foreign-based athlete who failed to show up for national trials in Benin City, Edo State. The trial event is used to select Nigerian flag bearers at the World Championships. Secretary General AFN Rita Musin said any foreign-based athlete who failed to show up for the national trials will not make the trip to Budapest, with the only condition for considering an athlete who missed the trial is when an athlete tender a genuine case of ill health, while AFN medical team must be notified, with board deciding on it. AFN Technical Director Samuel Nikeku also added that AFN have the sole right to register athletes for World Championships even when athletes have qualified before the trial. Reigning world hurdles champion Tobi Amusan and Nigeria's best 200-meter runners at the moment, Udodi Owuzurike, will make the event with over 12 foreign-based athletes already in Benin City. And in football, following his amazing performance in Serie A this season, Super Eagles winger Ademola Lookman has emerged as Atalanta's player of the season. The skillful winger joined the Bergamo-based side last summer, and his performance helped the club secure Europa League slot. Lookman received more votes from fans to beat his duo of Tion Kompimenas and Martin de Roon to the award. Despite being injured for some time, Ademola was able to score 15 goals with 8 assists for the club. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajeshafe.
And with that, we wrap up the bulletin for tonight. Many thanks for your time and company. Feel free to catch up with all our content across our social media platform and do enjoy our YouTube live stream. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for your time and company.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.